For task 11, I was asked to produce a layout of my front cover to show what my magazine is going to look like and to show the conventions of a magazine that I was going to use in my own. The first convention I decided to put on my magazine was the masthead. To do this on my template, I went to Insert and added a text box to add the text where I wanted my masthead to be. I decided to put this in the left-hand corner of my page as it will be the first thing the audience read, as you are known to read left to right. The masthead is very important as it symbolises the magazine and creates a bigger target audience. I made the font size 46 so that it was large and stood out immediately on the layout. As this is going to be one of my biggest parts of my front cover, it needs to be large and I wanted to represent this on my template. The next convention of my magazine that I decided to put into my own was the main image. For my magazine, I'm having one main image on the front cover which takes up the whole front page. This is so my magazine stands out and is the first thing that an audience notices. The next convention I added into my magazine was the setting line. I added this just under the masthead and on top of the main image. I want this line to show the audience what type of magazine I am doing and to attract the audience towards the magazine. I'm going to base the setting lines dependent on my cover lines. The next convention I added onto the magazine was the main cover line. I placed this on the top of my main image just below the centre of my front page, as when I did research on pop magazines I found this was where they were most commonly placed and I found that it was the most effective place for a cover line as it made it stand out to the audience. After I added the main cover line, I decided to add 3 smaller cover lines on the right hand side of the magazine. I'm going to base these cover lines on the articles in my magazine to show the audience what is inside it and attract them to the articles within my magazine. I'm going to make these bold and attention grabbing to attract my target audience. The next convention I decided to use for my magazine was a logo. I've decided to put my magazine logo in the right hand corner of my magazine next to the masthead to show the audience immediately the magazine that they are buying. As it is at the top of the magazine, it is one of the first things that the audience will see and represents the magazine to them. Another convention I have added into my magazine is a barcode. I've added this onto my magazine as every magazine I've researched had a barcode on the bottom and I want my magazine to be as realistic as possible. I place this in the left hand corner at the bottom of my magazine so it is noticeable but it isn't the first convention that stands out. One of the last conventions I added onto my magazine was the price of my magazine. This is very important as the audience will want to know how much the magazine costs before they buy it. I have placed it below the logo of the magazine but have made it quite small so it doesn't draw the attention away from my magazine front cover. I have used all of these conventions on my magazine to make sure it stands out to the audience and attracts the widest possible audience. By having these conventions, my magazine will stand out to the audience and draw them towards my magazine.